There we go.
Okay, well, y'all, I'm going to do my very best to answer all your questions. If you ask me, now I have Google or Siri or whatever you want in my pocket. So now, like, I can't really make anything up anymore because y'all all have it in your pockets or purses too. But if you throw me a zinger, I can normally find out in about 5 seconds if I don't know it off the top of my head. If this is your first trip this is everybody's first trip with Premier, huh? Everybody's? Okay. So I love Premier. I've been with Premier since 2018. We do excellent trips all over the world. I don't need to oversell this trip. Y'all are already going, but I love this trip, okay? This is a easy trip. I'll answer all your questions about Mackinac Island, anything else you might want to know. But right now, it's kind of get ready for the trip, and a little bit of the work's on you as far as getting ready and just kind of having the right mindset, being on time, things like that. Like, you do the things that make this trip easy and better. Don't do the things that make this trip worse and harder, right? So remember certain things. And I will tell you, we take care of everything. So if you remember your driver's license and or passport, you do need your passport for this trip because we're going to Canada, okay? But if you remember your ID so we can get you on the plane and into Canada, we got it. Like, you could show up in Bermuda shorts and a tank top and be like, aloha, we're going to Hawaii. As long as you'll be buying a coat when you get to Detroit. But as long as you have your passport and you're ticketed, which you are, we got you, okay? So I'll go over everything, answer all your questions. Typically, my questions come from luggage, prescription medications, tipping. People always want to know how, what to tip, what to do there, and then fun stuff, right? So I'll answer all your questions, but we will go through these documents, and I want to tell you too, there's nothing in here that if you lose, that you can't take the trip, okay? The name tag is nice, okay? Well, don't lose your name tag because it identifies you're with the group, but there's nothing in here that you have to take this trip. So if you leave it sitting on the coffee table or whatever, Hakuna Matata. Like, no worries, everything is easy. And Tony told me, he's like, man, those are nice. I'm like, yeah, I wish they were either less nice or way nicer. Because people are like, when do we throw them away, right? So anytime you want to. But let me go over a few things. The first thing I want to go over is the air schedule and the group pickup, because it is not great news, okay? Yeah, so welcome to my nightmare. Air. Flying anywhere with a group is a colossal challenge, okay? So especially out of these smaller gateways, okay? So if we were going to Phoenix, like, I don't want to tell you're going to get a direct flight to Grand Canyon, but, if we're going to Phoenix or DFW or Orlando or Houston or different places, Detroit, there's not a ton of direct flights. And the airlines don't like to allow the groups to hold them, right? Because we hold them for a long time, and they can't sell them on Travelocity and Expedia and everything else. They like to massage the numbers and make as much as they can. So we have a gentle flight as far as easy connection. Nobody has to be sprinting through the airport, but it's an early flight. We leave at 6:50, okay? That part's not too bad, okay? We include the transfers to and from your hometown. A lot of y'all probably didn't even know that when you signed up for the trip. It's a complimentary thing. You don't have to join the transfers, but we do include them for those that want to. We are very early with our transfers, okay? We don't leave any room for error. So if the motor coach gets a flat, or if there's a skunk gets in the motor coach and sprays, or you name it, it can happen. I've had all these things happen. Not the skunk, that's not true. But I've had everything crazy happen. So we get to the airport very early. So what that means, your flight's at 6:50. We're the motor coach. If you want to ride with the group, that's the transfer is included from here to the airport and back again. But if you want to go with the group, it's early. We're leaving at 3:30. I know that's too early. I know that. Y'all listen.
That's AM.
Yeah. So here, like, you don't have to go with the group. It's a complimentary thing. Like, hey, if you want to go with us, you can. We know we're early. We know we are, but if we're not early, if we don't leave room for every kind of mistake that you think can happen, right? Like we can't have the group be late. You don't have to go with us if you want. You can go to the airport whenever you want. You can pay for the parking yourself if you want, whatever you want to do. But to go with the group to OKC Airport, we're leaving at 3:30. Okay.
And they do return us, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we return also. So we always, in everything that we do, we walk this tightrope of protect the integrity of the trip. Okay. So what that means is, let's not have the group get there at 10 p.m. at night first day. Let's try to give them some time to get settled in, right? So everything that we do is based around the trip. So the flight schedule's good. It's just leaving from Weatherford. So we're leaving from the fire station. Is that correct?
The old police station.
Excuse me. The old police station.
That would be true of both trips. The old police station.
Okay.
So the old police station, the address is here, 522 East Rainey.
West Rainey.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, it says east here on this, so y'all please go with west. Does anybody not know where the old fire station or police station is?
City Hall. It's City Hall.
Okay. So y'all do me a favor. Do me a favor. If you're not 100% familiar where it is, it's here. It's here. Drive by and see it before you have to be there at 3:30 in the morning. That way, the morning of, you're not like, where am I going? The GPS took me to east, and this is supposed to be west. But we're leaving at 3:30. Okay, that's really the only bad news. Again, if you don't want to, yes, ma'am.
Do we have the same schedule for September and October?
No, ma'am. No,
Okay.
no. I don't know what that will be yet. Again, like the 7 o'clock flight isn't the worst. It's the transfer from Weatherford over. And again, y'all don't have to take it if y'all don't want to. We include it as a complimentary, like for the group. Don't feel handcuffed to where you have to do this. Okay. Tony will be on the motor coach with everybody there that morning. Most everybody will. But if you don't feel like it, you certainly don't have to.
I will be sending out though to make sure who wants to go. And we'll leave at the 3:30 mark, so sorry if you're not there. And you don't want to come out and join us.
So the next thing I want to look over is here's your flight schedule. This piece of paper here is your flight schedule and the hotels that are listed. I recommend you take a picture of this with your cell phone. Whoop, back up a little bit. So, like right now, if I had to say, hey, where are we staying? And y'all didn't look, you could probably only name the Grand Hotel. And I'm the same way. When I travel with Premier, my wife and I are like, where are we going today? I don't know. Like, it's because it's all taken care of. So I always recommend take a picture. There's the address. There's the phone number, but more importantly, it's where you're staying. I have people all the time on tour. They're like, let's go to the hotel. Yeah, let's go back. Where are we staying? Like after they've checked in. So this is good just to have in your phone. Here's your flight schedule. Here's the addresses and everything else, the name of the hotel. And then that way too, you can share that with loved ones or people who are taking care of your pets or whatever who you might need to share that information with, okay?
Chris, even though this is a September trip, everything will be identical. The times won't be identical, but this type of information will be in your brochure.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Packet.
Yep. Yeah, the only thing that will change for the October date is the flight schedule and transfer time, whatever that is.
Right.
The next thing that is in here is this luggage tag. This really isn't for the airlines. This is for the hotels. Portage is included on the program. So once you get your big bag to the motor coach, when we get to Detroit to final destination, you get your bag off the carousel, you take it to the coach. You don't have to take it to your room. It'll be in your room waiting on you. But do fill this out because that way they can know, oh, it's Tony Cannon. He's in room XYZ. We'll take it there for him. Okay? So your big suitcase is taken care of. Your carry-on, you keep your carry-on with you. Okay? So the carry-on won't ever leave you. And I'll talk more about luggage in a little bit. I would absolutely check a bag if I were you on this trip. Delta is $35 one way. I believe Southwest, you don't have to pay to check a bag, y'all, but like I said, if I ever quit travel, they did change it? Okay, that's right, okay. Keeping up with airlines and their fees and all this stuff, to me, I've traveled with my wife without a check bag, and it was not hard, but we ran out of room for shopping, right? So in our carry-ons, I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you, I guess we'll ship all this stuff back home. And we ended up spending more money shipping stuff home from Yellowstone, actually, than I would have paid to check a bag. So I recommend you check a bag. But put this on your check bag, okay? You can do it when you get to the airport, you can do it when you get to Detroit, whatever. If you lose this, remember what I say about these documents. There's nothing in here that's gonna, hobble you on this trip. The tour guide has a stack of these. We'll get you another one. But that goes on your check bag for portage to know where to take your stuff to. There is some helpful hints and travel tips around Mackinac Island and the itinerary and things like that. If you want to read about it, you can, okay? But here's the itinerary. Here are some helpful travel tips. If you want to learn about that, you can. Everybody is automatically enrolled into what's called our Compass Club. So for your next trip, you save money. You don't have to send in an email. You don't have to keep up with it. We keep up with it. So for those going to Great Trains or those going to Italy or Montreal and Quebec, you will actually have a discount off your next trip. You're all automatically enrolled there, okay? Our loyalty program. Here on this, here's some more helpful hints, but I go over everything in much greater detail. So I never use this. I just use my knowledge of travel, doing this since 2007 with groups. So you can look over this if you want to, but here in a second, we'll open up for questions and we'll go over everything, which I think is way better than like, oh, before you go, we highly recommend you download the blah, 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 right? So I'll answer all your questions on that. Here is your e-ticket info. Your individual e-ticket number is in here. I have some people that like to go on ahead of time and pre-check. It's a little blue piece of paper. You'll find it if you.
Yours is white, Terry.
Or white.
You're the only.
But y'all listen, you don't need this. Okay, so if you lose this, they're not gonna, like, it's okay. Like when you check in, we'll talk about the check-in here in a second, but this is just for if you wanted to go online ahead of time, if you wanted to do whatever, you can do that. We're going to the airport, most of us, I'm not going on the trip, so when I say us and we, I'm not going. So you all are going to the airport as a group, right? You'll check in. If you're checking a bag, you still have to go to the ticket counter. So that's one thing that's always made me curious of like why people want to pre-check and do all this stuff. You still have to go and weigh the suitcase and do all the things to check in. But when you get there at the airport, you'll go probably to a kiosk. They print off your boarding pass. Then you go to the ticket counter. You surrender your bag. They check it, and off we go. Who's not flown in the past 5 years? Okay. So there's a lot of people here. Tony can help you. There's a lot of, if you have questions, just ask. And I will tell you this, there's been plenty of times I've been at the airport trying to use one of those kiosks. It's broken, it's not working. And I get a gate or whatever person, they're like, oh, it's not broken, you're not doing it right. I'm like, okay, show me. And they're like, it's broken, try this one. So like on travel days, I am Mr. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Like nothing bothers me. I try not to get upset and bent out of shape if the kiosk isn't broken. If it is broken, instead of losing my mind and freaking out, I'm like, oh, just try the next one, doop-de-doo. Like we're all leaving at the same time. So just easy breezy. So I want to talk about luggage for a second, since we're there. It talks about it in the documents here. It talks about it, but I think it's best to talk about it in the forum and then answer questions. So really, on this trip, you can take 3 items. Your big suitcase, not to exceed 50 pounds, okay? Your carry-on bag, y'all know if it's too big, right? So if you bought it in the last 5 years, it's probably the right size. I have one actually, when I don't want to check a bag, I know it's too big and I roll the dice, right? But if you know it's too big, maybe take the one you know is not too big, okay? But big suitcase, carry-on, side item. So side item would be purse, it needs to fit in the seat in front of you, or for the men, like a backpack or something like that, okay? Your carry-on is the most important piece of luggage, not your check bag. Your carry-on is the most important things like prescription medication, extra change of clothes, whatever you need to to keep on trucking if they lose your suitcase. I have found the best way to not have your big suitcase lost is to pack a really good carry-on. As soon as you don't pack well your carry-on, you're like, oh, please don't lose my suitcase. Like, it's lost. Okay, so have a couple extra things of clothes, have whatever charger you need, have all the important things in your carry-on that stays with you. Okay, and then the side item, y'all, like, every time I fly, it's different. I always recommend for the side item, if you have to cram it into your carry-on or take some things out to make room so they're not like, oh, you gotta check that or that's too big when you go through, just leave a little extra room in your carry-on or your side item to make it all blend together, okay? For prescription medications, I cannot remember the last time they actually asked, what are those? I don't know. I mean, I used to have to like tell everybody, you gotta travel in the pill bottle they're prescribed in, and TSA used to be really wanting to know what that stuff was. Now, I'm more concerned, you just keep it with you and take more than enough, okay? Always take more than enough, take it all with you, keep it in your carry-on, and you know, they say a prescription printout is a good idea to bring with you, so if you can get that easily, do it. If you don't, like if you're like most guys, we're like, I'll do it, and then we don't do it. So I would say stack your pill bottles up on your bathroom counter, get the phone, click, take a picture of it, there it is. God forbid something bad happens on the trip and you have to go to the hospital. Before they really want to diagnose and mess with you too much, they want to know what they're dealing with, what's all in there. So keep your prescription medications with you and take a picture of it, okay? If you pack over a 50-pound suitcase, you may have to pay money for that, okay? Because they weigh them. And that's heavy, y'all, right? So you have a carry-on, you have a big suitcase, like save some room in your big suitcase for shopping. You know you're gonna shop. You're gonna come back with like 18 pounds of fudge from Mackinac. Right, so leave some room. Yeah, here and in your suitcase. So, you know, any questions on luggage? Anything about luggage in particular?
Locks.
So good question. So I do recommend TSA approved locks, okay? I used to put locks on my suitcase. I don't anymore because anything in my big suitcase, I'm like, whatever. It's dirty clothes and my important things are in my carry-on. But if you get TSA approved locks, that's the way to go, okay? I'm a bigger fan of straps. You know what I'm talking about? Like those toe strap looking things. I like, they could steal, but I've traveled a ton and I've never had anything stolen out of my luggage. What gets stolen, I heard Tony talking about this being, you know, it's not obviously if you want to have a glass of wine or a beer and you want to partake, great, but I'm not looking around and seeing anybody like, woo, going crazy in this group. But the thing that gets stolen the most out of suitcases is booze. Like people coming back from cruises or whatever, like alcohol seems to be the thing that's stolen the most. So if you get like 20 bottles of whiskey stolen from you, just don't tell anybody, okay? So that's what I say about locks. Any other questions on luggage? Anything on luggage? Y'all are travelers, I can tell. Yes, sir.
Medication, stuff that has to be in the quart size zipper bag.
Yep.
On your carry-on. Medications are not required to be a certain size, but is a sleep aid such as ZQuil liquid, do you know if that's considered medication?
Well, it's over the counter, right? So ZQuil is over the counter, so it wouldn't be considered medication. So what I would do if I were you is I would get a little 3-ounce container. I would go down to Walmart at the travel section and they sell them. And I would just I would transfer the sleep aid into a 3-ouncer and take that. You know, I use ZQuil like once a month. You know, it's non-habit forming. That's what I tell my wife. It's non-habit, but it works. If you need a good night's sleep, it
I
works.
usually just once a night.
There you go. So yeah,
It's not heavy.
that's right. So y'all, quart size Ziploc baggie. Y'all know how that works. Aerosol liquid gel, that was a great question because they don't make it in that 3-ounce max, okay? So I would put it in the 3-ounce max container and then don't worry about it. They are crazy at TSA. Like you can't take any pocket knife even if it's this big, right? So guys, don't take your pocket knives. Like if you need a pocket knife with you, check it. and then carry it when you're there. But just remember, there's been so many times on the way back, people are like, oh, I forgot to put it in my check bag, it's in my pocket. And then it's just trash can, right? So, yes, ma'am.
I was just gonna say, the last time we flew, Winston took it out in the Mucinex
Uh-huh.
to take, and he put it in a baggie in his carry-on. They had to take it and have it tested.
Really?
We almost missed our flight because of that.
So it's
So
best,
don't-
yeah. So it's best to like the Z-Quill, they won't care, they won't know, but it is best to travel with like, hey, this is what this is.
Yes.
That way, if it piques their interest at all, you can just be like, whatever it is. And also, yes, sir.
Her problem was she had Winston with her, and he looked.
Yeah, I'm polling the room. I'm not seeing like senior trip coming back from Tijuana over the border, like worrying about prescription medications at all. Y'all should be no problem. But so the next thing I'll talk about is we talked about airport security, talked about luggage, prescription medications. Then I'd like to save gratuities for the end because people always want to ask about gratuities, and I'll tell you what works best. So let's talk about packing tips, okay? When I travel, I'm actually a pretty good traveler, right? I try to be happy in Mr. Brightside, and I swear that goes further than anything, right? Like it could be bad weather or whatever it is, and I'm just like, whatever, and I'm just off we go. And that's the best medicine I can find, for travel. So a good attitude, good spirit, right? Makes travel easy. But after that, after like happy thoughts, comfortable shoes. Right? And I say that because I can fake being happy about my feet hurting, but inside I'm not happy, right? Like I'm not happy. I'm like, my feet hurt, let's go. So comfortable walking shoes, critical, okay? Comfortable clothes, critical. This is a casual trip, so y'all all are well prepared the way you've come in, except for the Grand Hotel. During the day at the Grand Hotel, it's very casual. They have a list of no's, like no cutoff jean shorts. Not worried about this group doing that, right? No inappropriate dress type stuff. Not worried about that with y'all. But in the dinner time, in the dining room, it is formal, okay? So ladies, you don't have to have an evening gown, but just think Sunday church, right? Y'all know what to do with that, but it's formal, okay? For the men, sport coat, tie. No blue jeans. So slacks, sport coat, tie. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But you won't get to go to the main dining room. They do rent sport coats and ties there. They actually do. And I've had a lot of guys who are like, of course I packed it. You've told me 20 times to pack it. I packed it. And you get there and you're like, oh man. But so they rent them. And I think it's pretty cheap, right? So it is formal for one night in the main dining room, but it fits, right? Like it makes sense when you're in there. Like you kind of, you're like, okay, this feels better. But the rest of the time, casual, comfortable. If I'm going with you, I'm taking one pair of slacks. I might take two, maybe two pair of slacks, sneakers, a couple polos, and my fleece-lined windbreaker with like pockets galore. When I travel, I love pockets all over the place. So I hate the cold. I do not like being cold. And right now, like I know I'm Texas, but it's been hot for Oklahoma and Texas together. Like we're conditioned for it's really hot, not it's a high of 62. So when you go there, even though it's not freezing, it's gonna feel like it's freezing. So if I'm going with y'all, I'm taking not big coats, layers, right? Long sleeve, a shirt, a fleece line windbreaker, I'm good. It is cold in the mornings. Maybe it might be a high of 49 one morning. Sounds freezing, right? When you get on the coach, it won't be 49. So I've done lots of trips in this weather, and my wife and I both like bundled up. We get on the coach and we're like, it's hot in here. I'm like, no, it's perfect. We're just got parkas on, right? So easy on taking big giant coats. I don't think you'll need it, but take comfortable coats that you'll use a lot of. Sunglasses, ball caps, y'all know what to do, okay? Also for me, like I'm glad you brought up Z-Quill. Like I need good sleep. I bring earplugs with me. Always. There's little tiny, like those don't take up any space, but they go a long way if someone's stomping around upstairs. So any type of creature comfort thing that you might like, take it with you, okay? Who is going to forget their passport? Raise your hand. Okay, good. That's the first thing I started off with saying, okay? As long as you remember your passport, we can get you the earplugs, we can get the Z-Quill, we can get everything, but please remember your passport, okay? At Mackinac Island, one of my questions I get at Mackinac Island a lot is, there's no cars, how do we get around? There's a horse-drawn carriage shuttle like every 30 minutes, downtown area to the Grand Hotel and back again, okay? I was telling Tony, 4 groups did this trip in 2025. They're doing it again in 2026 because they loved it, right? And then they came back and they told their friends, I'm like, we want to go. So most of the people are like, oh, cool, the carriage will be here in 20 minutes, we'll just wait. 20 minutes, let's just walk, right? So you can totally walk it if you're up to it. If you don't want to walk it, it's not that far of a walk, just wait on the horse-drawn carriage. Very easy, okay? People ask me what else is there to do at Mackinac. Like after you do the Grand Hotel, after you do horse-drawn carriage, after you do downtown Mackinac and get all the shops, 2 nights is plenty. Like 3 nights would be too many and 1 night wouldn't be enough. 2 nights is right on the money. So watch Somewhere in Time before you go with Christopher Reeves. They have a plaque outside the room, right, where like some of those things took place, so it's just kind of fun to do that, okay? Any questions about Mackinac?
Say that movie one more time.
Yeah, the movie's called Somewhere in Time, and it's Christopher Reeves. And to me, like that's the most endearing thing about the movie is it's Christopher Reeves, right? Superman. And it's, Grand Hotel, Mackinac Island. It's really cool. Yes, sir.
You know if Arthur's still a bellhop?
I don't know. I'll find out though at the end. I'll find out in a second. Sometimes we'll throw Siri a curveball. They may say there should be, but we don't know on Siri. But I want to talk about tipping, and let me tell you what I think is the best way to tip. You didn't include the tips, right? Okay, yeah. No, okay. I try to talk everybody out of including tips because here's what happens. I have a few groups that include the tips. You pay for them. Like you pay up front. They just bake it into the price, okay? So the tour guide gets tipped well regardless, number one. And then what happens is our guides are always great. So the travelers will be like, gosh, Aaron was so wonderful. I wonder, I know they're included, but we should give more. We should give a little bit more. So the guides, like, don't tell them I said this, but the guides, when we include the tips, they end up getting all the tips and then like extra tip. So I always say, tip on the level of service you receive, okay? Industry standard average per traveler per day, and let me unpack all this, it's like $12 to $15. So that might be 5 to the motor coach driver and 7 to the guide to make 12, or it might be 5 to the driver and 10 to the guide to make 15, whatever you want, okay? But about $12 to $15 per day when you're actually there. So am I tipping on travel day when we fly over? No way, right? Am I tipping full on the day we leave? No way. But on the days we're there, I'm gonna budget for that. And I have found the best way to do it is either in these envelopes or on your own, have it set aside, right? There's nothing worse than being like, what do you mean you spent all of our tipping money at the gift shop? And then having to go to an ATM, or we do it all the time, it happens. And I'm always like, this is not your money, this is tour guide money, you can't spend it.
So it's like cash would be better than?
Cash, yeah. Yeah, and at the very end. So what I typically do is I don't separate it at the beginning. I'll just take like 4 20s and 3 10s or whatever that 12 or 15 would add to for 6 days, right? 7 days maybe, okay? And at the very end, I'd be like, okay, driver, you were awesome. Here's what I think you're worth out of that. Hey, tour guide, you were really awesome. Here's what I think you're worth out of that. And I always say tip at the very end. Usually the guides are great and they can read the room and they're proper and all of that, but there have been times like we got to try new guides. Like as we grow, and people retire, like we have to try new guides. And there are times I'm just like, oh, they just shared all their personal beliefs and all this stuff that they should keep private. Great, you know, like don't tip them. So I say wait to the very end. People oftentimes tip a little bit more than that. I'm baseline guy. Like you got to kind of blow my socks off to get more than industry standard average because I'm in the industry. Our guides are awesome, but at the very, very end is when I recommend you tip, and I would have it cash put away in my suitcase hidden from my wife. She's great. She doesn't shop a ton, but when we're on vacation, we don't budget because we budget to get to go on vacation, right? So that way I don't have to go to an ATM last minute or be like, oh my gosh, you know, like, I can't believe we don't have, you know, we're having to shortchange the driver or whatever. But that's what I recommend. I've tour guided once. One time I tour guided. I am not a tour guide. I tour guided San Antonio one time, and this 2008 I think is when it was. From before we even got to the first hotel. Any questions, everybody? When do we tip you? When do we tip you? The whole trip. I was like, gosh, let me do something right. But that's what I say. Don't tip every day. Do wait to the very end, right? And they'll typically say something like, oh, you know, if you want to say goodbye to our driver, Barry, that the farewell dinner is a good time to do it. So that's what I say to do. And if you don't like Barry, you got an envelope full of cash, right?
They will be with us all week.
The whole time.
Driver and the tour guide
Yep.
will be with us all week.
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, so you don't have to like do 5 this day, like same driver, same guide the whole time. If somebody gets sick or there's a family emergency, that we've had that happen, but they are with you the whole time. So you get to know them. You know, that's why I think another reason maybe why people give more, because like you get to know a week with the people, you kind of get to know them pretty well. So so that kind of wraps up. I'm going to do my best to answer all your questions. October folk, same rules apply, except we may be picking up at hopefully not 3:30, right? Like hopefully we can do a little bit better. We deal with what's available at the airport. So that's the only thing that could change.
Can we meet you at the airport?
Yes. Oh yeah. Nobody has to take the transfer from Weatherford to Oklahoma. It's just something we include.
If you choose to take yourself to the airport, do you have to get with the group on arrival at the airport?
No.
Just go ahead and go to the.
You can go on through. You don't have to wait for the group to check in. You can meet them at the gate. But this is what I would ask for Tony's sanity. If you're going to do that, let him know. Text him or let him know the day before so he's not like, where are the...
Will they be there waiting for those that chose not to ride on the bus?
Well, they'll be waiting at the gate.
Somebody stand with a taxi and Cannon Travels? Or?
No, not so on departure gateway, no. So when you go to the airport in Oklahoma City, it'll just be go to the ticket counter, check in, go through security, go to the gate. When you get to, I'm glad you brought this up actually. Y'all, when we get to Detroit, when you go to the baggage carousel at the very end, there's a premier representative or the guide is gonna be there looking for y'all. Okay, so there's someone there waiting to meet you. No one needs to go search for this person. Like no one needs to like split up and go find, like y'all stay together. Baggage carousel, they should be right there or they'll be right outside of like when you walk out to get picked up.
I'm gonna answer one thing though. I will be at the airport, Oklahoma City Airport, for both groups, no matter what the time is. So if you're going in October, I'm going to be there with you, but I'm not going on the trip with you. And then on the September, I'm actually going on the trip, so that'll be, I think that's what you were asking.
Yeah, I just wonder
Oh, sorry.
if we were supposed to get with the group if you didn't ride the bus. When you get to the airport, try to find the group or just carry on?
Carry on, go to the gate,
Yeah.
because that's where,
They'll show up eventually.
yeah. If you're at a gate and there's not a big group of people, you're at the wrong gate, or they're all at the wrong gate. So that's what I love about that Tony printed out everybody's name and phone number. That way you can be like, well, where are the Smiths? A quick text or a quick call, like there you go, easy.
I can't go to the gate, so be sure you check in with me at the main entrance. I'll be in front of, if we're flying Delta in September, I don't know what we're planning in October, so.
Wright
I'll-
Brothers.
Yeah, I'll be in front of whatever that is, okay? Yeah.
So, what's most important?
Passport.
Y'all got it. So, I mean, literally, y'all could just show up half-cocked and don't know where you're going. Passport, we got you. It happens more than you think. So, any questions? Any?
I have a, back to the tips. Are we supposed to tip like the Grand Hotel for our meal and any of our meals?
Good question. The meals we include, the tips are included. So when we include the breakfast, lunch, dinner on out, it's baked in there. It's all you don't have to worry about it. Okay, good question. Thank you. Yep.
And so what do you predict that the weather will be?
Rain every day, snow a couple.
So you could see maybe too early a bit. You might see some leaves change. Okay, so that's going to be really dependent on how cold it gets at night, right? The lows. If I was going, like I just did a, not a forecast, but I did the historical averages. The range is highs are going to be in the low 60s or mid 60s for the highs. Okay, the lows could be down in the high, like 49, 52. That's what I would pack for. And for the group going in October, kind of the same. I mean, it doesn't really vary that much. It does get a little bit colder at night, but the highs are pretty consistent. But if I'm going with you, windbreaker, blue jeans, comfortable walking shoes, ball cap, sunglasses, cell phone charger, right? Like all the things that I don't want to forget that I'll have to just buy when I get there. Man, I'm trying to think, y'all. I mean, just try to. I love the Grand Hotel in the Mackinac Island because even if you're someone who's just like busy, 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 go, 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 like just kind of manic, I guess not manic, that's up and down, but just kind of hectic, right? The Grand Hotel just kind of grabs you and sits you and you're just chilling. So it has the world's largest front porch. Sit on it. It's so relaxing. Yes, sir.
What about cell phone chargers, you know, at the airport? I mean, I was watching TV the other day and they said that people can pick up these guys are so good, they could load up these, yeah. And then, you charge your phone and they can pull everything off of it.
I have not actually heard that, and I'm sure there is technology that allows people to do it. I can't live in a world where I even think about that,
They
right?
said
So,
to bring your own charger.
Okay.
You have-
so you're saying you're on adapter or on
Yeah.
port? Like port, like a.
With
Well, I have
battery,
on
an
the
extra
wall.
battery thing.
Gotcha.
Extra battery.
So that's good. So I haven't heard that. I mean, not a bad idea. So I would imagine on the
Power
planes.
pack, that's what
Little
you get.
power
Yeah,
pack.
power pack.
Yeah,
So
little
so
power
on the planes, I'm sure it's probably nothing to worry about. You know.
I wouldn't think of it.
But I honestly, I wouldn't worry about it if it were me personally, just because I can't, that's too much for me to have to think about all the time. Like if I need to charge my phone, I'm gonna do it. But it is a good idea, have a backup power pack, like in the purse, in the carry-on, or I mean the side item. I'm glad you brought that up. I remember what I was wanting to say. On the motor coach, have a motor coach bag. Like something that you take in the motor coach with you. Your carry-ons, they go beneath in the cargo area, right? So like a battery pack, perfect. Take that in your little motor coach bag or her purse. You want some bottles of water? Great, put it in your motor coach bag, right? You get too hot, too cold, too hot, too cold, because you're just figuring out the cold for the first time. Put your jacket in your motor coach bag. So what my wife and I do, we have this big canvas beach bag that has a zipper on top, and it has a big K on it. Our last name's Keith. So that's what I love taking that thing, because I can fold it up and almost fit it in my back pocket if I need to, but that thing will carry 50 pounds or whatever we end up getting that day. It's just nice to have a base of operation for stuff to work out of instead of gift bags all strewn across the seat. Hello. Yeah, so take a little motor coach bag with you and you'll be happy you did that. There is a seat schedule on the motor coach each day. Maybe not each day, but the tour guides can kind of tell the harmony of the group, right? If you are very, very motion sick, you need to tell the tour guide so they can make sure you sit at the front. And it's really funny when I say, okay, who gets motion sick? Like everybody raises their hand. And I'm like, okay, but who gets actually sick, you know? And they're like, oh, okay, a few of you still. So the tour guide will like make sure there's no front seat hogs or back seat rowdies, you know? And then, you know, like it's, yeah. So they take care of stuff like that. That's a good question. I'm glad you brought it up on the phone chargers. I've not heard of it. I wouldn't plan for everyone to take a power pack, but you know, if that's something you're concerned about, you definitely can.
Can you talk a little bit about Niagara Falls, the steps, elevators, anything like that?
Yep. So so my group that did this recently, I talked to them before, okay, the meeting, and I've traveled. This woman's traveled with me since like my oldest is 17, when my wife was pregnant with him. Like she's been traveling with me a long time, so we trust each other. I was like, Gail, tell me about the trip. What do we need to know, right? Like tell me about your group, because she has really vintage travelers, right? And then she has like the young hot rods that go and go. She said the most difficult thing for her people was off and on the carriages. She said walking is, you don't have to go down beneath, like behind the falls, like you don't have to go down there super far, right? You don't have to do anything on this trip you don't want to do, right? If you don't want to walk down the river gorge or any of that, not far at all, Tony. But she did say the carriages, like you have to kind of step up into the carriage and they help you and they have like a little stool and thing. But she said, what's that?
On the island?
Yes, sir. Yeah, on the horse-drawn carriage. And she said everyone did it okay, but it's kind of one of those, okay, here we go. Right? Like, okay, I'm building my momentum. And then like, get in there. So, and then helping them down. But she said that was like the only thing really. So very, very easy. And I will say this too. Do as much or as little as you want to. I used to be, like, I don't recommend scooters and stuff like that on air tours because they can be just more of a pain to travel with, right? But as far as walking and getting around and like do as much or as little as you want to. If you're tired and you don't want to do something, don't, right? You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Most of the walking is going to be on free time on your own, not us, right? So if you're a gentleman and you're like hanging out in Mackinac with a bunch of ladies and you've gone into the 4th gift shop and it all looks the same, it's not going to change. Like it's going to be the same everywhere you go. So cut bait and whatever you got to do to save steps, but like balance it. Good question. What other questions? Anything at all?
Do we need a heavy jacket to go to the falls?
They provide, that's a great question. They provide it. Yep, so they provide you like a rain slicker and booties and like things that go over your shoes and yeah. You're gonna get a little damp, right, because of the falls, but it is so amazing, right? Like when you get up and close and personal to something so powerful, right? It's great, you know. So it's a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of anything I need to warn y'all over. So don't pack an umbrella because you should, okay? But I don't. I think it's a bad omen. Right? If you are somebody that packs an umbrella, should that stay in your hotel room? Every time people pack umbrellas, they're always like, sure, I'm glad I packed that umbrella and left it in the hotel room. So those are things just to think ahead of time, but I don't want y'all to overthink packing and overthink this. When we leave that morning, it's gonna be early. I want y'all to do the passport pat down, like wherever it is, okay? It happens way more than you think. People get to the airport and they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot my passport. Not a problem. You gotta turn around, you gotta get it. We'll get you ticketed on the very next flight we can, but you're on your own solo getting there. Like booping your plane tickets covered, right? That's another reason with air, like we're we're backed in the corner on what schedules and, you know, what we can get. You're price protected, you're covered, but you'll have to get yourself there, okay? People do it all the time. So before we leave, it's not a bad idea to like just see them, but then put them back where they belong. Like don't just put them in some random pocket, just keep a close eye on your passport. And again, y'all have heard me say this, get it out, take a picture of the passport, right? If you lose it, not the worst, but it's just so much nicer to have either a printed out picture of it or a picture of it on your phone, just in case you do lose it, okay? We're not going to like Angkor Wat, Vietnam or something. It's Canada, you know, and so it's not that big of a deal, but still please remember it.
Currency in Canada.
Canadian dollar, so I think we're doing pretty good right now against the Canadian dollar. So you don't have to get one single Canadian dollar. You could do this entire trip and credit card only the whole time, okay? If it were me, I would probably do that. I wouldn't want to go to the Canadian ATM and be like, what's the least I can get? You know, so I you know, because as soon as I get that money, it's gone. Like it's spent forever. You know.
So, on the, now I've forgotten what I was gonna say.
Currency, Canadian dollar, passport.
Yes, is it better to notify our credit card company that we're going out of the country?
So I used to tell people to do that, but now they text you. So they'll be like, hey, was this you? Right? And you're like, oh yeah, that was me. So I actually called my credit card company and they were like, yeah, no problem. Like we all have it locked down and it's good. So if you want to reach out to your credit card company and or bank and let them know you're traveling, you can do that. What's more important is flip your card over, take a picture of the back. Because it's got the 1-800 number on there, what to call. I use my phone on all kinds of stuff like that. So if I lose my wallet or whatever, I can be like, oh, cancel my cards. Cool, where are my cards so I can cancel them? Gone. So don't lose my phone. But I don't recommend you do that. You know, if we were going somewhere that had a lot of high fraud and high theft, I might recommend it, but not to this one. You know what people have asked me? You know, so I've had people ask me, do Canadians dislike Americans? What do y'all think? No, they don't dislike us, right? So when I have people going to France, like, do French people dislike Americans? No. Are people in Paris kind of snobby? Yes, right? But it's okay. People in Dallas are snobby, right? So like I have found all my travels happy, nice, you know, that you get what you put out there. So like the Canadians aren't all that concerned about tariffs as much as what everybody's making it up to be. So, yes, sir.
The time I was ever there, a gentleman that offered help with directions. He said, just remember, we are your very best friend.
That's right. Yep. I've been to Canada so many times, and I mean, from Texas, like I go to Western Canada a lot for the Rockies and stuff. They're cowboys, you know. I mean, they're country and they're great. So y'all are going, you know. You won't even know you're in Canada. You'll be like, oh yeah, we're in Canada, right? That's why it's Canadian dollar or whatever. But if you any other questions, comments, concerns, anything I want to address now?
Power sources in the Canadian hotel.
Yep, so same. Anything North America is the same voltage, no problem. Good question. Someone else was thinking it too, I promise. Yep, power chargers are the same, all the same. It's never the mountain that gets my travelers, it's the pebble in your shoe. So think creature comforts, right? And think, you know, like, I don't probably need to have an outfit for every single day perfectly matched. And although I like to think I'm gonna catch up and read these 2 books on this trip, you're not, right? So I just use your good common sense on how to pack and what to bring. And I will tell you, share your phone with people and say, hey, take pictures of us instead of always just like, geez, right? Like some of the best photos of my travelers traveling, right? So you don't have to trade phones all day long, but like out of sight. You can be like, hey, let's swap phones for like 10 minutes, you know, and just like, or share pictures with each other. If you see somebody doing something cool or just standing somewhere cool, take a picture and do a photo share. Those are always the best. Like your grandkids, pretend like they want to see your photos, right? But they really don't want to see them when you're like, geez. But if you're doing stuff like, oh, that's cool, grandma, grandpa, that's neat what you're actually doing, you know, so I recommend that. But y'all, that's it. Yes, ma'am.
Are we at the Grand Hotel for 2 formal dinners or 1?
One formal dinner. Yeah, 2 nights, 1 formal dinner. Good question. Yeah, so guys, sport coat or coat and tie, 1 night. Yes, sir.
We October folks now, we're gonna get this packet in the mail, or we're gonna have another meeting for us?
So Tony will get them, and then you'll disperse them to them, or you want me to mail them individually?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make sure each person has it, either by mail or by delivery. So, most everybody's from right around here, so I get it to you.
What else?
The dinner Niagara Falls formal, well.
Oh, good
is it
question. These are great.
about the same?
So these are great questions. Her question was, is the dinner in Niagara Falls formal? Okay. On most of my trips, there are no formal dinners. The only reason there's a formal dinner on this one is because of the location, right? But what happens on most trips, just so you know in the future, everybody packs 1 pair of nice clothes, right? And then you don't wear it for the whole trip, and then the last night you're like, well, I packed it. I'm gonna wear it, right? So then all of a sudden, ta-da, a formal dinner happens, right? So I always say, just in case, bring 1 pair of a little nicer. Doesn't have to be crazy, but just something to where, you know, you're not getting ribbed by somebody like, hey, making fun of you or something. So you don't have to. There's no, the dinner and the farewell dinner is not formal, right? But people tend to dress up on the last dinner. That's just what happens. So just maybe be prepared for that. It's not formal, but if everybody else dresses up and you don't, you're going to be like, I didn't get the memo. So good question. And you know, the thing too is, this is your first trip. Y'all are going to learn some, right? So I try to cover everything, and I'm like, oh yeah, good question, good question. Some of these things that just you learn organically, right? You'll be like, you look nice. You know, like, why are you so dressed up? It's like, my wife made me pack it, right? So, and it's the last day. So those things you learn. Oh, yes, I'm glad I remembered this. Okay, one last thing, and I promise I'll stop after this. Please tell us if you have a problem with anything. The surveys and the reviews that break my heart are this. Did you enjoy yourself? Yeah, it was great. 5, give it a 5. How were the locations and hotels and tour guide? 5, 5, 5. Loved it. Would you travel with Premier again? Maybe. Wait, what? And then we go and we look and we read the notes, and it's like, toilet would not flush at the Grand Hotel. Front desk would not help me. Had to use the public restroom. Or not public, but the restroom down in the lobby. And then we'll read tour guide time log, and it's like, had no clue. Right? So if you have an issue with anything going on, the guide wants to know. The guide cares. Tony cares. The front desk does not care. Right? So their answer, and it's not just front desk, I mean anything, right? Like, we care. Most people are supposed to care, but we do. So their canned answer is always like, oh, well, there's nothing right now, but you know what? Go ahead and check back in an hour and a half and we'll see if something's available. They know you're not going to. In an hour and a half, you're just going to be like, whatever, we unpacked. So if there's any issues on tour, anything you got going on, let the tour guide know so we can address it and fix it, right? And, the whole oh, I'm just so happy doesn't mean that you don't share concerns and feedback with us, okay? So yeah, let us know if you got anything going on. If you have any dietary issues, the last thing to do is be like, oh, hey, for dinner tonight, I'm gluten-free and shellfish intolerant, and I can't have dairy, and I also can't eat vegetables or meat. And tell us ahead of time, right? Not when we get to the dinner, tell the tour guide so they can, help with all, whatever you got going on or whatever you need help with, lean into the guide. That's what they're there for. They're not there just for commentary. Yes, sir.
So y'all will have the airline tickets for us?
The airline ticket.
So, boarding pass?
So everything's electronic now, so you'll get your boarding pass when you check in. Yep, so you just go up there and you just give them your ID or your passport or your driver's license, and that, you'll go from there. Yep. There's no more paper tickets handed out. Yeah, you can use your phone, yeah.
If you have the app for the airlines, it's on your phone.
Yep. So that's pretty handy, but not everybody does that. But, you know, if you're checking a bag, you still have to go to the ticket counter to check it.
Bags, does it have to be credit card, or does it have to be cash?
So another good question. So to check the bag, it does have to be credit card, right? So when you're at the kiosk, that's when you pay right there. So I would check a bag. I would spend the money and check a bag. Yep, I totally would. And that's something we can't prepay. We wish we could, but we can't, because like if you pack a 80-pound suitcase, you know, and it's one of those things we can't prepay. The airline loves to get you on fees, so watch out on overpacking. What else, y'all? Okay, one last thing. Everybody please get a Schnetka, okay? Because Tony cooked them, and I think they're gonna be really good, and
Dirk cooked them.
oh, Dirk cooked them. Okay, well, Tony provided them, so please get a Schnetka. And I want to say, Tony talked about, he prayed over the trip for everybody to be safe. And if you don't know each other, you will. Like, that's one thing I love about travel and fellowship, right? So getting to know you could have 5 years of Sunday morning, hey, good to see you, and never get to know somebody like you would spending a week with them traveling. So I love this stuff. So get to know each other, like get to know different people. It's okay to click up and tribe up with your same group of friends, but try to get to know everybody and watch out for each other, and y'all will have a whole lot of fun. So that's it. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
For those that have these, they're yours, but we need them, all right? You need to have them on the trip, so just put it in your packets that you have. For those that have not received the package, you will get one if you're traveling in October. All right, there's some other trips up here if you'd like to check them out. But thanks for being here tonight. I know some of you may not have needed it. Some of us needed it all. That one or two little questions that I needed were answered tonight. And thank you for being here. So any other questions before we go? I've got one request. Mingle just a few minutes, 5 minutes say, and get to know somebody that you don't know. Would you do that? That's the joy of traveling together. Absolutely. Adios. I'll see you September the 12th, some of you. All right.
Thank y'all. Thank you very much.